Hi, I'm Katie. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create an online booking system for a restaurant. You might want to use this for a takeaway delivery service or any other sort of online ordering for your restaurant or food company. We're going to do it with the WordPress WooCommerce plugin and another plugin that works with WooCommerce called WooCommerce Product Table. This is going to let us create a one-page order form for all of your products on your menu so that people can order the foods they want and add them to the shopping cart straight from that single page. And that was a nice, easy way for you to create online ordering without having to pay commission fees to other services such as Just Eat and things like that. So to get started, before you do this tutorial, I want you to have a WordPress setup like this one. And there's two plugins that you need to have installed. These are WooCommerce, which is going to provide the e-commerce functionality on your website, and WooCommerce Product Table, which lets you create the one-page order form for your menu. And once you've got these two plugins installed, you're ready to get started with this tutorial. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to create categories which you will use to divide up your online booking system. The categories would want to correspond to the different sections on your menu. So you might have starters, mains, desserts. You might have a vegetarian menu that's separate, a kids menu, side orders. So each of those is going to be a category on your online menu. To create your categories, go to Products and Categories. And this is all provided by the WooCommerce plugin. And I'm going to show you how to add the categories for a menu. So first I'm going to do starter, which so the name would be starter or whatever you want, and then add a slug as well. Now the slug appears at the end of the address for that category. It's not actually that important for this tutorial because you're going to have a one-page order form and you're not actually going to let people view any category pages. Everything from each category will be displayed on your one-page order form for your food system, and the categories are simply a way of arranging your content. So don't worry too much about the slug. And then we just add new product category at the bottom. And I'm going to do this 2 more times. I'm going to create main courses. I'm going to go add new product category, and back up again I'm going to write desserts and desserts like that, and add new product category. And I think I'm going to rename starter actually because it would be better as starter with an S. So to make any changes to your categories, you either click on the heading to make lots of changes or quick edit to change obvious things like the title. So I've created 3 new categories, which you can see on the right of the product categories page. We've got starters, main courses and desserts. And that means that we are now ready to start creating products and put them within these categories. Now with your products, each food, each item on your menu, each dish as it were, is going to be a separate product. So here we've got our product section, and I'm going to show you how to add a new product. So add products here. So if you imagine a normal menu that you would have printed, each single item that somebody can order from that menu needs to be a separate product because that will allow it to be ordered separately on your website. And I'm going to create a product called chocolate fudge cake, and I'm going to write a description of it. Right, so that's your title up there, and that's a description of it. This is going to appear in our one-page order form, so you probably want to keep it quite brief, just as you would on a printed menu. You don't write reams and reams of text about the foods on your printed menu, so keep it similar on your online order. So I'm going to choose a category, and it is a dessert, so I'm going to tick desserts on the right-hand side, and we'll keep scrolling down. Now there's a couple of options for the product data. The simplest option is simple product, which is just one version of the product. Chocolate fudge cake would normally be a simple product because there's just one price. So let's say it's £7.99 and that is the price. Now, if you were adding something a bit more complicated, so for example, it might be a pizza menu and you might have a 9-inch and a 12-inch pizza. If you were going to do that, then instead of simple product, you need to click here and choose variable product. You could then add attributes, and you can see I've got one called pizza size. And once you've done that, you can use it for variations to create different versions at different prices. So you could charge one price for your 9-inch pizza and another price for a 12-inch pizza. So these are all things you can do with the WooCommerce plugin. But for now, I just want a simple product with one price, and that keeps it simple. So we're going to scroll down a bit more, and I'm going to write some tags on the product as well. Now, tags are a good way to store extra information or data about each food. And you might use it for things like healthy option or vegetarian, gluten-free, that kind of thing too. And then the way you can set up your online order form, it actually allows people to filter by those things. So a vegetarian could instantly select all the vegetarian foods on their menu, which is really handy for them. So I'm going to click on the most used tags because I've already entered some, and I'm going to choose vegetarian because chocolate fudge cake is vegetarian. And scrolling down a bit more, I'm going to add a product image. Now, if you haven't already got one uploaded to your media library in WordPress, you can go to upload files and upload them here. I've already uploaded a picture of chocolate fudge cake, so I'm going to select that and then choose set product image. And you can see it's appeared here. And so that is my product, and I'm going to publish it. And you need to do this with every item on your menu as a separate product. And after you've done that, you will be ready to start adding it to your order form. And so people can start ordering your foods online. Next, we're ready to start creating the page where people will order the items on your menu. First, we need to write down the name or the ID of the categories which you want to display for each section of your menu. So let's go back to products, categories. And what you want is the ID for each category. So find one of the categories for your menu and hover over the name of it. Now, can you see right at the bottom of my screen, there's a really long and confusing link. Somewhere in that, it says ID equals 122. So 122 is the ID of my category. And if you hover over different ones, you can see that each one in that confusing link at the bottom, it has a different ID. So that is how to find out the ID of your category. Write this down and write the ID of each of the categories that you want to display for your menu. And then we're ready to start creating the page where people can order all that. To do that, we're going to go to Pages, Add New, and we're going to create a new page. And I'm going to call it Restaurant Ordering System, or just Order Form. Call it whatever you want. And what we're going to do is add a table of products to the page, which will be our order form. And you can write anything you like above or below the table. It doesn't really matter. So this is a normal page in WordPress. The important thing is that you put the table on it. The way I'm going to structure it is I'm going to do a subheading for each of my sections. So we've got starters, main courses, and desserts. So what we're going to do is add the usual heading style. So this is all standard WordPress stuff to create a subheading. So I've chosen heading 2, which is quite nice. So after each one, we want to add a table. To do that, you need to watch me closely and also look at the WooCommerce product table documentation to see exactly how to do it. And if you read the written tutorial that accompanies this video, then you can copy some sample shortcodes which I provided. So you can watch me writing one now. So I've done open square bracket and I'm going to write product underscore table. And next I want to tell it which category to display. So I'm going to write category equals, and then within quotation marks, 120. That is the category of my starters. So if I do product table category 120, that's going to tell it to just display products from the starters category, which is what we want. Next, I want to tell the table to display specific columns of information which are relevant to a restaurant ordering system. So we've got columns, columns equals, and then within quotation marks, you want to list the columns that are going to display for your menu. The first column I want is image. So that would be the product image that you saw me add for the chocolate fudge cake a minute ago. We also want the title, which is what we added chocolate fudge cake at the top, and you put a comma between each one. And next I want description, that's the text that I wrote describing the dish in this box here. And the next one is tags. Tags are like vegetarian, gluten-free, whatever you want that helps people to sort your dishes more specifically to find what they want. And finally, I want add to cart. So that's add to cart with hyphens in between. So that's the columns that we want in our table. I also want people to be able to order more than one of each dish. So if, say, 4 people are ordering together, then they might want 2 of them to order one dish and 2 to order another. So what I want to do is show underscore quantity equals quantity equals true. And that is going to tell the table to display a quantity selector before the add to cart button, which lets people order as many as they want of each dish. And I'm also actually that'll probably do for now. So let's just save the table, let's save the page by clicking publish, and I'll show you what we've got so far. I'm going to keep configuring it in a minute, but that's what we want for the time being. So I'm just publishing the page and then we will be able to have a look at it. So to do that, we're going to go view page, which is the link at the top. I usually do that in an extra tab and then we scroll down. So we've got restaurant order form, the starters subheading, and these are my 3 starters. So you see how it's got all the columns that I added: name, image name rather, description, tags, and it's got the quantity selector so I can order more than one, and add to cart. Now I think I want to make a few improvements. I'd like people to be able to select these tags. I'd also probably like to rename the word tags. Tags isn't the most user-friendly word, and maybe it would make sense to sort them alphabetically or something like that. So let's make a few more changes to get it exactly how we want. So first we'll rename tags. You can rename any of the columns simply by doing a colon after it and then writing what you want it to say. So I wonder, just thinking what to call it. So we need to think of something logical to call our tags. So maybe notes would make more sense. Notes, everyone knows what that means. So we're going to rename that column notes, and you could do the same with any of the other columns if you wanted. In fact, I might rename description to summary. That's more like the sort of thing you might see on a menu. So another thing I want to do is disable the link. At the moment, if you click on one of these names, it will link you through to the single product page. We're doing a 1-page restaurant order form. You don't need a whole page for each menu item, or certainly most online food ordering systems don't. So instead, we're going to disable the links on both the image and the name. We just want people to be able to click on the tags to filter for that tag. So you see when I click on these, it filters it to show me healthy foods, vegetarian foods, and so on. So to do that, we want to write links equals tags. Now what that's going to do is tell it only to have links on the tag column, not the image and the title columns, so that people can no longer click through to a separate page, which keeps it all on one page, keeps your e-commerce system much simpler, and is generally easier all round. I also want to sort by title, so I'm going to go sort underscore by equals, and then within quotation marks, title. And I want to set the sort order too. So sort underscore order equals, and we're going to write ascending. So that's ASC. So that will sort them alphabetically by title in ascending order, which feels like a logical way to structure a menu. And I also want to write filters equals and then true in quotation marks. And that's going to add filters above the table. So let's update that now and I'll show you how it's changed. So this is what we had before and I'm going to refresh the page to show you what we've got now. So it looks pretty similar, but we've got a few differences. So we've renamed description to summary, tags to notes. We've disabled the links here, so you can't click through anymore. And we've also got a filter. And so you can choose which one you want, vegetarian and so on. The reason there's more is because I have other products on my test site, but if you've only added tags for things that are relevant like vegetarian and gluten-free, then obviously you will only see relevant items within your filter. So that's our starters menu. Well, I'm happy with that. I think that's a sensible way to display our starters. So let's go on and show you the main courses. It's going to be similar, but I'm going to show you some key differences which let you set up your tables in a different way. To start off, the easiest way is just copy and paste the shortcode for the starters to main courses. But main courses, I have a different category, of course, which is 121. So I changed the number in category to show that. I think I want similar columns, but I'm going to make some key changes here. Now, the reason is because a lot of restaurants offer different options for a particular dish. You may offer a meat and a vegetarian version of a dish. You may have different sizes, something like that. And to do that, you need to display it as attributes or variations. First, for the main courses, first of all, I'm going to show you how to display the attributes that you've used within your table. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to actually allow people to select them as variations in order to order those different options. I know that sounds confusing, so I'll keep going and you'll see how it works as we do it. So we're going to keep the image column, the title column. We're going to keep the description. But instead of tags, let's do something different. Let's do, that's there, let's delete that. And I want to display an attribute which I created earlier called pizza size. So I'm going to write ATT colon, that tells it it's an attribute. And I'm going to write pizza hyphen size. And that's going to display the pizza size within my table. So we want to keep our show quantity, that's correct. And we want links equals tags, it doesn't make much sense. So let's change that to links equals true. Well, actually, let's leave it at true, and then we can see everything that's linkable again, and we can always change that later. And sort by, we'll leave that as it is, that makes sense, and we'll leave filters as true. So let's update the table and see what it's added for our main courses. So I'm going back to the page, main courses is blank, so I refresh the page and here's our main courses. So here's 4 pizzas I added earlier. And so we've got the size options for some of them. You can't add to cart yet because there's different versions available. So instead it says select options. That's not what we want, because to do select options, you would have to click through to the single product page, which we don't want for the purposes of this tutorial. So I'll show you how to actually add variations to the table so that people can select them from this table. And you've got a filter above, you've got pizza size as well. So you can have filters for whatever you've got displayed in the table, basically. So if you had a tags column, then you would have 2 filters, one for tag and one for pizza size. So just think about what works best for you. If you look at the documentation, you can also do things like hide these elements or move to the bottom. There's a lot of options. So let's carry on with this table, and we're going to change it to remove the attributes column here, but actually turn them into variations. So let's change that back to tags, and we're going to call it notes, as I showed you. So tags colon notes to change the name, and then we're going to change links back to tags because we've got the tags back again, and let's write variations equals, and then within quotation marks is true. So what we want to do now is click update, And I'm going to refresh my page and see what changes on the main courses section. So as you can see, we've lost the tags column, we've got the notes back, and we're going to click on this column here. So next to the quantity selector, we now have variations displayed as a drop down. So you can actually select them and you see the price of that specific variation displayed underneath, and you can add it to your cart as well. So people can order as much if they want, all different variations, and add to the cart, all from that one page. So that's a really user-friendly way to let people order from your menu on your website. We've also got lots of different filters up here. Now, because I set filters to true, it shows every possible combination, and which is more than we want probably. Also, it's showing things that we use for other products elsewhere on our website, which we don't want. So I will show you how to change that. We've got filters equal to true. Instead, I want filters equals attribute is pizza size. So that's ATT colon and then the name of our attribute, which for me is pizza size. And I also want tags. So if I then update my page again, it will only have, instead of all these 4 filters here, which aren't all relevant, we can choose which ones are actually relevant. So that's what we've got there. And that's it. We can do something similar for desserts. So we may as well do that in order to get our complete order form. So for desserts, I'm going to copy my first table. The reason I'm going to do that is because I don't have any variations for my desserts. So the starters is actually more relevant. So we've copied the starters table. We're going to change it to 122, which is the correct name of the category, and we'll update it. And then at the end of it, hopefully, we will refresh the page and have a complete online menu where people can order what they want. So there we go. So we've got our starters at the top of the page. We've got main courses and we've got desserts. Now, one way to see prices is to select a variation that displays below, but I would expect that your customers would want to see a price column as well. So let's add that now. So let's put it before add to cart. So in the column section, we're just going to write price colon. And let's do that for each table actually. So price and price. There. So all within the column section, we've added a price column. And then we're going to refresh the page again and see the price option. So here we go. So we've got our starters and we've got a price column so people can view the price before adding to carts. We've got that here, and it's quite clever. You can see that with variations, it selects the price from the lowest to the highest variation. And then when you select it, that stays as it is, but the actual price displays below. So that works well. And we've also got desserts with the price column there. Now that's everything. There is documentation for both WooCommerce itself and WooCommerce product table. So read through it carefully because there's tons you can do to present your order form in different ways. I've created this particular booking system for online food ordering to have popular options really, but you may want to do it differently. You don't have to have all these elements. You can have different columns. You can have a bigger picture. There's tons of stuff you can do. It works great on mobiles and you can further control how it works on mobiles too. So go through the documentation and set up your order form exactly how you and your customers will want it. So I hope you get on well with it, and you can get in touch with us if you have any trouble as well. Thanks for listening.